Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the Torgo Entertainment YouTube channel. Torgo here. Welcome back to another gig log, and welcome back to another wedding.
Roger that. What's going on? Who is that?
We got a guy on the inside.
Don't tell me one of your beat cops is trying to be a hero.
Lately, I have noticed that July is a light month for weddings, at least in upstate New York, and I'm okay with that. Venues are too hot in the middle of July. I think couples are learning they don't want to wear fancy dresses and suits outdoors in the middle of the hottest time of the year. So I only have 3 weddings this month. I had the one last week, Andy and Matea's. I have today's wedding, and then 3 weeks from now, I have my final wedding in July. So July is my lightest month of the year, at least until we get to November. But fewer weddings doesn't mean less effort, so today, we pull out all the stops per usual, and we celebrate the wedding of Joshua and Jeri-Lynn. I say all the stops, it is the smallest setup that I have. There's a little bit of modification required for it. And let's go to the map and show you Glenora Wine Cellars, which is where this wedding is. We've been here many times before, 40 minutes away. But this venue requires a little bit of trickery with the setup. We have to have a 3rd speaker indoors because we are out on the deck per usual. And then we have the outdoor ceremony setup, which you've seen in the other 2 gig logs I've had from this venue. I've been there tons of times, but this will only be the 3rd wedding I've filmed there. Nothing too out of the ordinary, right? Well, let me tell you how I got this wedding. So, I've mentioned this in the past. My dad owns a DJ company, Crowd Control DJ Services, out of Elmira. He does not do weddings anymore. He is retired from them. Not just because he's 65, but because he just cannot keep up with the technology, and he'll be the first person to admit that. He had a gig last year, and stuff just shut right down. It wasn't a wedding, but all his equipment just kind of failed, and I think he lost all of his confidence. So both of the weddings that he had lined up for 2022, he got rid of them. One of them he gave away to some other DJ, and the other he gave to me. I was not available for the first one. However, he's friends with the groom in this case, so he's going to be assisting me. My, how the tables have turned. Because obviously when I was in high school, I would help him out. That's where I learned a lot of that stuff, 20 some odd years ago. But I'd like to think I've grown past that. And I don't understand this complaint of DJs that say they don't understand the technology. DJ is literally all technology. You have to be able to manipulate sound files, know the gear, set up, tear down. It's all tech stuff. Yeah, passion's great, but it only gets you so far. So it'll be a little bit awkward having him help me out because he's never actually done a wedding with me before, and I know how I like to do things. I think I'm primarily gonna have him on camera duty for most of this. And I'm not sure why he's going to be there. It's kind of a weird look. He told the couple, look, I can't do your wedding anymore, so my son is gonna do it with his company. And they transferred everything over. They paid the rate that I would have had. That's perfectly fine. In fact, they've paid in full already. But he's gonna go anyway and be an assistant? That seems like he's just kinda there for no real reason. With the setup of this size, I could definitely do it by myself. I did not need an assistant for this one. I think he feels kind of morally obligated to be there because he said he was going to be there in the first place, but that's between them. The playlist for this wedding is quite large. They gave me about 150, 160 songs, and a lot of it is stuff that goes really well at weddings. 10 years ago. Old time rock and roll, and your Don't Stop Believin', which thankfully has finally started to slip to the wayside. Sweet Caroline, same thing. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely gonna try and slip in some new stuff. They did ask for current stuff as well as 70s, 80s, and 90s. No one ever asks for the 2000s, I'm not sure why. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Not much of a build-up or a prologue to this wedding. Familiar venue, long playlist of music, but nothing terribly out of the ordinary. I did have to buy about 20 songs for this wedding, but it's stuff I either should have had. Like, It's a Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll by AC/DC. I was floored that I did not have that song. I've seen School of Rock, I know how these things go, but I just didn't have it in the catalog. I'm not sure why. It's hard to remember how to have every single song, especially when it's not requested. And the time frame is pretty simple as well, 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So I get there at 1, and I'm good to go. It is currently 5 of 11. I have about an hour and a half before I have to even leave Corning. But I hope you're ready for this one. Let's go!
I know I show a lot of driving footage in these gig logs, and the reason I do that is to show a sense of place. A lot of these venues are not that far away from each other, but upstate New York has a very diverse landscape that I feel people are not that aware of, especially from outside the area, so I do like showing off how wide an array of locales you can have weddings in my videos. But we've been to Glenora a ton of times, so I sped through this footage a little bit. It is a very boring 40-minute drive, and I'll breeze through these overheads. We've been here many times before, and we just have the reception on the deck as usual, denoted by the blue star. We have to put a third speaker indoors, and we have the ceremony out on the lawn where they have their archway denoted by the blue heart. Let's show you the gear. So here we have the reception setup, nothing too out of the ordinary here. We have my EV-ZXA1 subwoofer off to the side. I know it goes really well here. My dad taped it to the wall. I'm not happy about that. I'm going to end up fixing that later. Help. But that's snaked behind the table in there, and there's a hole in the wall, which is new for this year, and it goes to this QSCK 10.2. That's me in the window. Hello. And we have my other two tops over here on some speaker scrim. I have 3 of these speakers. One of them got damaged about a year ago, so I had to buy 2 new ones, and then one of them worked, so I have 3 now. We have my good old facade from Dragon Frontboards, the Remo pattern, my Allendale Defender, a Lasco fan. This is the one thing my dad brought, and I do like having this. We have my anti-fatigue mat, Firm Power Conditioner. We have some lights, the UB12 hex bars lighting up the facade. It's just U and B, blue and UV lights, nothing crazy there. Audio-Technica ATH-M50X headphones, the you know what that is. You know all this stuff is. The Samsung Odyssey Z notebook, the Roland DJ808, the PowerBar 65. The microphones will go there eventually, unfortunately. We have my mic stand water supply because it's July, it's New York, it's hot, because it's hot everywhere. Power goes back here. We have to run it back here. My dad had a Defender as well, so we are running 3 Defenders, and we still need tape. The Defenders are slightly too tall for that door for access. And we have my Ape lights. Whenever I have a small package, now I bring the Ape lights to bring a little bit of light, and it helps out a lot. We have my camera, my tripod, and there's the ceremony setup. So let's go ahead and pan down there. Yep. Now I moved. It's instant. It's the magic of television. There's the archway, and here is my setup for ceremony. We have my Chromebook from Samsung with all the music on it on the flash drive. More on that in a second. My Yamaha 10-channel mixer, the MG10XU. We have my Furman power conditioner inside my mic rack with my Shure ULX-D4 microphones. We're running the lapel microphone today. X stand. We have the cases that go on the front and the back of the mic rack. And here we have the lapel microphone itself. I love this thing. It's a Shure transmitter, but it's a Sennheiser lapel microphone with the LEM. Limo, I think is the name of the connection. They do not make it anymore, which is really annoying for if I want a replacement. And there we have the speaker, and there's me because, check this out, before we level up, I had a problem. Now I ran into a problem because the recessional song wasn't playing. It plays just fine on the main setup, but it wasn't playing down here on this system. So what I had to do is download the song on Amazon, but Amazon won't let you download it to your device. So I have to stream it through Amazon Music and play it through Bluetooth because channel 3 on the Bose S1 Pro has Bluetooth capabilities. So I've muted everything else on my phone. It's one song. Should be good. Now it's time to level up. Let's go.
With this ring, I be wed.
Josh, you may kiss your bride. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and privilege to present to you for the first time Mr. and Mrs. Josh and Jeri-Lynn Thompson. First
up, give it up for bridesmaid Chris Griffith, escorted by groomsman Brian Bentley. Next up, give it up for bridesmaid Stacy McQuay, escorted by groomsman Matthew Norton. And keep it going for bridesmaid Jamie Hoyt, escorted by groomsman Matthew Eppright. These very important people in our newlyweds lives, so give it up for all three of them. The flower girl Brianna Shepard, the matron of honor Stephanie Shepard, and the best man Noah Thompson.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
I want to hear you guys make as much noise as you possibly can for the two happiest people on the planet. Give it up for your newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Joshua and Jeri-Lynn Thompson! Our newlyweds have decided to go directly into their first dance together as husband and wife. It will not be to the Jock Jam, as amusing as that would be. This one's by Ed Sheeran. You know it, you love it. Baby now. And give your newlyweds a round of applause, everyone.
Worldwide to infinity. You know the roof on fire. We gon' put the hook on the agenda. We're going down. Falling in love with
is a song that involves drinking. Well, every song involves drinking if you have the initiative for it.
True.
And the way this works is every time you hear the crowd in the song yell, thunder, then you pass it off to the next person, but you have to drink the whole time until the next one says,
Thunder.
thunder.
That's right. We've been there. We've done that.
Get out of the way. I'm filming the fireworks, it's fine. I'm gonna end the gig log this way. I know it's not the way I normally do it, but I wanted to show off this fireworks show on camera because I'm a little curious as to how you feel this went. There's one, and yep, they just went one at a time for like 10 minutes. Yep. But anyway, this wedding went fairly well. The crowd just... Sometimes you run into crowds that are not big dancing crowds, and this was one of them. A lot of older family members. We had two sides. You had the bride's side, which her friends, you know, they clearly were up for dancing. But the groom's side, you know, they were all police. They were sitting at the bar and sharing war stories with each other. And sometimes this happens. They were definitely more of a laid-back couple, and I knew this going in, so that's why I didn't have that much of a problem with a lot of the older music. I did play some of the newer stuff, as you saw, and they were dancing and having a real good time. But again, this is what they wanted, and they were pleased. When you have hands-off couples like this, sometimes I worry that while they seem kind of, you know, laissez-faire, they kind of want to let me do what I do, and they say that they want to have it more easygoing, I worry that they may think that at the time, but that may change day of. So that's why I kind of, you know, test the waters a little bit with some music, and I still try to give it my A game. You heard at the beginning, I did some mixes that I don't normally do with songs that are definitely not quantized, those older songs which are done with live tracks. So you may have heard that the mixes were not as clear, but I have to show you that I'm not just one of those people that use a sync all the time. I know that's a huge debate. Half of you don't care about that, but anyway. But overall, I would say this went fairly well. It was about as good as it could be given the size of the crowd, given the energy level, and it was a very hot day. I don't need to say that because it's hot absolutely everywhere. It's been so hot that this actually took me a week and a half to make this video. Not because it was difficult, but just because I've not had the motivation to do it because of the heat wave that we've had, not just here, but everywhere. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I will include the playlist at the tail end of this video, as always. And 3 weeks after this wedding, really a week and a half after I record this, I have my last wedding in July, and then we do not stop for the rest of the year. Again, we're on par for about 30 gig logs, and this is only number 10. But thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Torgo with Torgo Entertainment in post-production, and I'll see you in the next wedding. Take care.
gonna be irritated with that though.
He'll be fine. It's fine.
You don't remember.
You got me for 20 more minutes. It goes fast, I know. I don't know why you're clapping it. I'm almost done. It's weird.
No, this is so good. We have you for 20 more minutes.
Yes, you do.